Hello, this is Franklin McMahon from MediaArtist.com, and we're going to talk about adding some drama to our photographs. And if you want to discuss this, any of these techniques, you can stop over at the photography message board on Creative Cow, and we can chat about it. There's a little bit of thunder in the background, so you may hear some extra drama in here. So here's a picture of Amanda that I took. This was taken in a cellar, very pensive, moment, and she looks kind of sad, as some models do. They have that sad model look, and I kind of like it because it's pretty basic, although it does have some good contrast to it. There's some sunlight coming in and hitting her, and there's some darkness over on the side. But we're gonna punch this up a bit. We're gonna do some stuff like rotating and cropping and shadows and highlights and all kinds of interesting stuff. So first thing I want to mention is rotate. This is something you may not use that often, but it's actually right up here. And we're going to type in, let's do like a 24-degree angle. Now already you can see that we've changed it a little bit. You could actually progress and we could do all the tweaking and changing from here on in. But the thing with a lot of these photography tutorials is to change the perspective and make it a little bit different, add some drama. I think when we do photography, we try to tweak it to make it look good. The levels are all perfect and everything, but it should be a little askew because that gives visual interest. Already, just by tilting this, we've got some good visual interest, and it's a little bit different. So okay, we're going to actually back up a step and rotate that right back there. So let's start with exposure. In Photoshop CS2, there's a very cool new thing called exposure. And if you can see, I'm just going to boost this up. Exposure allows you to really play with exposure, really blow it out. As you can see, we're really blowing out the highlights. The brights are coming really, really bright. We can adjust the gamma too in the offset. Offset kind of brings the darks back up, which kind of fleshes it out more. And again, you can see just by tweaking these, that's a little bit contrasty. So that's one way to adjust it, is to play around with the exposure and emphasize some of the darks and the lights. Once we get into cropping, some of these techniques will be more pronounced, but we're doing a wide view just for now, just to kind of check it out. Okay, and let's go into cropping. Cropping is something that is should be part of every photo process. You want to try to crop it for that extra drama, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Now this is a pretty basic picture. We're actually going to go up to the levels, and as you can see, it's pretty contrasty. And I'm just going to zoom in. By the way, in Photoshop you can actually, using the navigator, zoom in and just look at parts of the photo. And see what works, what doesn't. You definitely want to have the subject off to the side or up on top, just something different, something that's not totally normal. One thing you may be wondering is how to get some of this darkness to balance out. Sometimes it is good to have that contrast, but we actually want to balance this a little bit more, so we're going to actually go to shadow highlight, which is right down here. And as you can see, it actually already did it, but we can drop that down. Now shadow highlight will actually play up. Okay, just click OK there. And as you can see, it really brightened up a lot of the shadowy stuff. Now again, we don't want this to be a perfect shot. If we looked at our levels, they're probably quite off, and the whites might be crushed and stuff, especially in here. But that's okay. We're looking for the drama in here. So it's looking pretty good. Now we're going to add something else. We're going to actually go to the layers, and let me move this up so you guys can see it. And we're going to do a little simulated cross-processing, where we're adjusting the levels. Okay, and we want kind of a green tinge to that. Let me just adjust that a little bit. There we go. Cool. So now, as you can see, we've got really a kind of a totally different feel to it. We could add some grain and we could adjust some, put some filters on that. Now we've really pulled out the background. A lot of it's grainy, but I actually like that. It looks pretty darn cool. So now comes the cropping. Now cropping is very important, and I really want you to experiment and take a photo that you've taken that you like and really work on cropping it. And let's do some crops right now, actually. Let's go in. I actually have a fairly high-res version of this, so we'll go to image crop so we can kind of zoom in. Go to select, deselect. So that's not bad. That's one way to do it. We could step backward a bit, and I'm going to zoom out. Let's do deselect, and let's try to make it a little visually uncomfortable, perhaps. Maybe the subject is way off center. Go to image crop. Do select, deselect, and we're going to zoom in a little bit. Now, as you can see, that's quite a different feel. I mean, you really get a lot of the drama. You get the subject's face, and it's just a different feel than before. Let's step backward, and let's go back a bit. I'm going to actually try a wider crop, but I'm going to crop her head a little bit. And I do like the hands, because I do like the hands in a photo can convey a lot. Uncomfortableness, comfort level, they can really say a lot. And I think the fact that she's really got them kind of relaxed and down and looking down is a pretty cool touch. Okay. Alrighty. So there we go. That's, yeah, I think that that works. And then you can always add text. We're going to add some text. We're going to let's pretend this is a nightclub. I'm going to call it Club Night, and let me actually brighten that up a bit so we can see it. Oh, there we go. Move this down. And of course, we can always add a bar, a box. I'll show you how to do that. You just grab that right there. Okay, I'm going to actually change the color of that. Maybe give it a red feel, because red's a good complementary color with green there. Awesome, and I'm going to up the opacity a little bit. And finally, I'm going to move the logo above. And there we go. So again, this is something that just with some cropping, some simulating some cross-processing, adding some text, adding a very basic, graphical element, a box essentially, really gives it a gritty, different feel than our original, which I'll go to our original. Let me see if I can revert it. Okay, and that's the original, which was a pretty plain thing. We didn't really boost anything yet. We hadn't cropped it. We hadn't tweaked it. So the key here is to experiment and play around. Use some of these techniques, especially the cropping. Even if you don't do any filters, just by cropping, you can add so much drama to your photos. And it can be really, really cool. So experiment, give it a try, and play around. You'll be amazed at what you come up with.